Why, hello there. Welcome to Smart Aspirations with Justin Huff. Sit back, chill out, and go on a journey around the world. Justin will discuss tales of hope, discovery, and general irreverence with some of the most dynamic personalities in the travel business. Remember, we do cool shit, and so can you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Smart Aspirations with Justin Huff. As always, I'm your host, Justin Huff, and today is a monumental occasion. I haven't seen my friend Qais Al-Balushi from Muscat for what's probably 8 years now, so I'm very excited to bring him on the show. Qais is joining us right now from Muscat, Oman. Qais, how have you been, man? What's going on?
Hi, how are you doing, everyone? Everything is nice here. But unfortunately, because the COVID-19 is a bit slow here, but the life's going on as a normal. Could be we affect just not much, just a little bit. Also because the population is not so big, that's why its affection is much less than compared to other countries.
Right.
The life go normally. Sometimes they do some locked up and for a few days, for a week or 10 days. Then again, they're becoming normal when the number of COVID-19s, when they increase a bit up, and then they locked up for a few days. Then again, they reduce down, then the openings again. Of course, tourism a bit less here because a lot of countries around the world, they are locked up the airports. And not much people traveling also. So we have a less tourists. I mean, now, and another thing is nice to hear, we don't have much tourists coming from the Westerns or from other countries.
Right.
But we have the locals who used to be working all the day. So what they're doing during the locked up in the night, but not the daytimes, they can do the look, go around and see their own country, you know.
Okay.
So lot of places which when they never not saw their own country, now they can see them very well. They go on different places, see nice places, which one because they're busy the whole day, they didn't see it, and now those days because they're less work, and so they can go to visit the places which they don't been before.
Well, that's a blessing too. I mean, it's kind of the same here in the U.S. I mean, I've never seen domestic tourism pumping so much. I mean, last summer, my daughter and I went to see some of the national parks, and man, it was really busy. And so, yeah. But no, it's Oman is a. We'll get into like the highlights of Oman and all the cool things that you could do here in your amazing country in a little bit. Yeah. But you know, it's good to see a little bit of local pride and see places that you would otherwise never even think about. But Qais, you've got this you're such a fascinating historian and ambassador for your country. How did you get started in tourism, and what would take us a little bit about your background growing up in Oman and deciding to pursue a career as a guide?
Well, in beginning, of course, I work a company as a welder engineering, the welding, the transport companies.
Okay.
Then after that, I get a bit affected, and the doctors say, so you have to stop that work a while because really they're affecting your eyes. Because even you have a protections, but the smoke or whatever you have to stop. So I decide to find another job. So try to because I'm interested in tourism, of course, before. So I went to the Sahara tour. I asked to be as a team with Sahara to work for them, start to be as a driver with that, to take the tourists around, beginning with the starting to learn with the tourism in the country here, work as a driver, then with a guide with me all the times. Then start to do my own trips because I learned where we're going, where we're visiting, what we're doing, until I become a tour guide. When I do when we do it with individuals. We started with individuals. Then after with individuals, I went to Ministry of Tourism to give the guiding test. Of course, if you're a guide, you have to have a guide license.
Sure.
So years or 1.5 years later, I went to the Ministry of Tourism. I give my guiding test. Uh, Really, I pass it, and for the first interview, I get my guiding license. I start with doing the groups and individual both as well, of course. Of course, do the group from 50, normally 50 to, to the 10 to 50 people sometimes. Sometimes I do just a day trip. Sometimes I do for 5, 6, 7 day trip around the country to showing some different places, a different view of the country. Histories areas, and also mountains and the beaches and the desert. Of course, I see them. The biggest amount of a group I do almost 270 people, which
Oh my God.
almost 70 cars. Of course, I lead them, but they're divided into different groups.
Right.
And there was, I think, Volkswagen factories, people, workers, staff. So they got kind of the tip for them to bring into Oman here, take them to the desert, having a lunch, and bring them back to Muscat. That was the biggest group.
That's a massive incentive group. The test that you had to take to be a guide, how long did you have to study for it? And was it just you showed up and took a test and that was it? Or was it kind of like a thing that you had to do over time?
Well, of course, when they give you the kind of book, and those book, there are some questions coming from there. I studied that book. That took me about 2-3 months to study. Of course, during my work here, and also I tried to research, to learn a lot during I'm a driver before I to tend to the guides. So I tried to learn and read, and plus I want to get that book from Minister of Tourism, learned about in the book. So then I call them, I am ready. They give me the appointment days, and then I went to the appointments. They get very happy with the question they ask me. Sometimes they go out of the book, but they say, hey, guy, from where your information? I say, we get them from everywhere, not just reading.
Your brain.
Exactly, absolutely. And I get the guiding license from them. Of course, the tourism, the general information, they never not ends. So you have to always research and update, because the information does not stay as like before. You have to update always, all the times, your information. Right. So I was always reading. So when I get a pass, I get really very happy. I can to show the companies. I get the guiding license, and they start with individual first again. Then start with a smaller group until the bigger group.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's all. So, I mean, are there ever incidents while you're on tour? I mean, I don't think I asked you one question that stumped you, but do clients ever ask you things and you're just like, not really sure. Let me get back to you.
Well, what's happening? I'm not going to force. I don't going to tell them I am not lying, because I say I'm not lying, but that's information. But you can research. Come back tomorrow, because sometimes we are round trips. Come tomorrow, and if I'll also double check my information and back to you, then I come in with my information right, and then you was right. Sorry for that. This is happening sometimes, you know.
I love that. Hey,
especially when you have a lot of joke with those guys, the clients, when they're very jockey, and they're joking a lot, they're kidding a lot. So they go, I don't believe you. Okay, don't worry, go research, do your researching, and let back tomorrow. We'll see who's right.
It's the right thing to do, and I think people respect you even more for that. But the audience that's listening to us now, they might not know about Oman. They might not know where it is on a map. So tell us a little bit about, where is Oman located, and then we'll get into a little bit about what we did. So if you had basically, if you're sitting in an airport lounge or something like that, and somebody asks you where you're from, and you have to explain to them, where is Oman? Tell us a little bit more about it and its highlights. What would you say to somebody that asked you that?
Well, Oman, of course, located in Middle East, in the Arabian Peninsula. There are two countries facing in Arabian Peninsula. One is Oman, one is Yemen.
Right.
So the country is not so big. The country size is about 300,000 square kilometers. Also, we have from the northwest with Emirates, Arabian Emirates.
Right.
In the west, we are with Saudi, With the south, we have Yemen, but east part of the country, we have Oman Sea and Arabian Sea.
Yes.
Arabian Sea and Oman Sea, they're open to the Indian Oceans. So east side, we don't have any other country unless you cross the sea from other side, which going to be India and Pakistan's.
Right.
To other side of the sea.
We'll
of course,
put a
the
map
capital
up on the YouTube video so people can kind of see, you know, where your neighborhood is, so to speak.
Absolutely, they can see that. And also the coastlines, very long coastlines. It's about 1,700 kilometers coastlines. We have beautiful country. You can see the beaches here, the long beach, different kind of beach. You have a white sand beach, we have a gold sand beach. We have a cliffs as well here, and we have the stony beach, and we have a coral beaches as well. And we have also nice mountain, high mountains. Our highest mountains is about 3,000 meters high. And we have kind of chain mountain, half of the country of cover of the chain mountains. They're called Hajar's Mountains. They're east and west Hajar's Mountains. The, of course, highest mountain is called Jabal Shams, about 3,000 meters high. We have a Grand Canyons. You have in USA.
Yes.
We have the second biggest Grand Canyons, which is about 2 kilometers deep and 10 kilometers wide. Of course, we have a desert, which is a beautiful desert, sandy, totally desert, which is, it's mean the desert. People now, they see the empty place, they say the desert. We have really empty desert, just sand, nothing else. We have two deserts. We have the empty quarter, with second biggest desert in the world, and one desert they call Sharqiya Sand Desert, which is used to be called Wahiba Sand. Since 5 years, they changed from Wahiba. You remember that, Wahiba Sands?
Yes.
They changed now to Sharqiya Sands 5 years ago, compared to be Wahiba, which is the tribe's name there. They changed from the tribe's names to the governorate's names there, Sharqiya Sands. It is a beautiful desert.
Gorgeous, man. It's and people that haven't experienced this, this is a brand new name for them. You might think a country in this part of the world might just have desert, but Oman is so rich and so diverse and so beautiful. I mean, just the mountains alone and just the diversity of the landscape in the mountains is unbelievable.
That's right. We don't have only the mountains here. We have the landscape, which is the desert. We have the mountain. We have a beaches. We have historically, I mean, the fort, the castle, which was very, very old. And we have some old villages, more than 1,600 years old. And still those villages existing, there are people in it. Of course, there are some stone villages which stay longer, which is periods, and some there mud villages, which is built the mud bricks, which
right.
between 600 between 300 to 600 years old. Until today, there exist and people they're living in that. And also the mountains. We have a beautiful mountain. We have off-road, I mean, which is called dirt road, the mountain driving, adventure road in the mountains. We have canyons. We have very narrow road to drive up in the mountains. You can see all different kind of the rocks, and also you see 3-4 different type of rocks. You can see the sandstone, you can see the limestone, you can see the marble, you can see also the lava, the rocks, which is about 100 million years old. Lava, yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, you were talking about the villages, and for me, when I travel, I love to see real life and real culture. And these little tiny villages with the most welcoming and just genuine people, I cannot describe to the audience how special it was to just be an actual, you're not just a tourist. I mean, you feel like a guest when you're walking through these beautiful little streets, and you've got these beautiful little, on the side of every walkway, the little water systems, that falaj
system, that's right, yeah, falaj, yeah.
Yeah,
that are falaj.
You hear the little water going by, and you look up and you see all the terraced irrigation and all the beautiful homes overlooking this just like stunningly gorgeous landscape. And it's clean. One thing that's unbelievable about Oman is how clean the country is. And it's just, you guys have your act together. It's incredible. I love it. But getting back to the diversity, I remember we had like a really, really cool moment on the coast where we were at Ras Al Jinns, I believe it was.
Ras Al Jinns, yeah, you can see the turtles there.
Turtles.
Yeah, so and we have the biggest turtle protection area in the world. They call Ras Al Jinns,
Yes.
which is their whole area, about 40 kilometers. They're all turtle protected in that area. Of course, that's with the protection of the turtles. We have them most of the coastline. We have the turtles, but that's the place at 40 kilometers, which is the most of the turtles. They come to lay eggs there.
Yeah.
So the tourists can go there and they can overnight there on the beach side. There are some nice hotel there, and they go to the night with the guides there in the center of where they're showing the turtles. They go there and the guide take them the group there. They're going to see the turtles with the lay eggs.
Yeah.
And they see the turtle lay eggs. Of course, they're very strict to have any light, any sound, any talk. So they're very strict. So they let the people, they go to see the turtle, how they lay eggs. They let the turtles finish the eggs, and then they go back to the sea, and they're going to find another turtle. They're not going to show a few groups in different places. So that's kind of protect the areas. Also, you can see the hatching, the baby, the turtles. We have the turtles, most of them are all sea turtles. We don't have the land turtles. Back to the Falaj, the water channel system.
Yeah.
In Oman, we have 5 water channel system, which is called Falaj. This is very old system. They are more than 3,000 years old. The Falaj system that's using irrigation, which is they irrigate. There are plantations and there are and that system, it's very amazing system how the villages people, they can share the water. So the water 24 hours running. In those 24 hours, the sharing between the farmers, the water is free. But if you want to sell if you don't want your share, you can sell it.
Oh, okay.
So you can sell. Cool. We have person they call the wakil who responsible of if the fallage is damaged, we have to work together to fix the fallage, because sometimes what is happening, the rains comes and they damage the fallages, the damage the fallage, and the water stop. Okay. So they have the whole farmer, they go to clean and restore the fallage. If they don't want, the farmer say, "Oh, I am tired, that cannot go to do the restoration." He have to pay for someone to do it because he take the waters.
He takes the
So you have to pay, restore that. Okay. And we have all and the fallage system also. You mentioned the terrace gardens here. We have a beautiful terrace garden in Jabal Akhdar, which one is 1,000 years old, which is farmers like a terrace gardens, and you can see how they're growing in that solid rocks, how they bring the soils, how from a few hundred of years they bring the soil and they grow those terrace garden. Until today, still you see they're working those terrace gardens in the in the mountains, especially in Jabal Akhdar.
It's just such a unique landscape that you would not even expect to exist. And Oman is, even throughout the entire region, the only place on the planet where you can see and experience landscape and have a system like that in place. Is just quite ingenious. And you'd also mentioned briefly the forts, and we saw some just gorgeous forts. What were the purpose of these forts, during their construction, and now they're just basically tourist attractions, obviously, but tell us a little bit about the history of the forts that you can expect to see when you're driving around.
We have many forts here. We have one of the oldest fort, which was called Bahla Fort. It's about 1,500 years old. Yeah. And that fort, the oldest one, is a part of the World Heritage.
Yes.
We have some fort, of course, 500-600 years old. In 1985, when the government decided to rebuild all forts in the country, and also not the fort, also the watchtowers. We have a beautiful castles, which was 1,200 years old in Nizwa. Yes. And also we have a Nizwa fort, which you've been in it. You've been to there, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And I will tell you something. I take Mr. Bush there as well.
Did you?
I was with him, yeah. I was his guide. No, the son.
W
Bush. Yeah.
Did he like it?
I was. I was his guide. He was a very good man.
That's cool.
He's very good man. Well, you listen, you hear about them, but when in reality you see him, he's a very nice man. He's a very great man.
That's the difference between media nonsense and like real
absolutely
life.
But this was great, really. He's very nice man.
Cool.
We was together for 3 days, have a tour.
Cool. That's great. Was this before or after my visit?
No, just last November, 2019 November.
Oh, that's so cool.
Last year only. Last year, yeah.
That's awesome. Only, very cool.
And he gave me the nice certificate to thank me, which is I done the tour for him for 3 days.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer this. Was George W. Bush a good tipper? No,
I'm not going to answer.
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer.
I'm not going to answer.
That's true.
So back to the fort. Exactly, yeah. So we have really beautiful forts here, like a Nizwa Fort, Nizwa Castle, which is all together. And also, sometime when you're doing a tour, like a day trip or round trip, like when you get from Muscat, driving about 170 kilometers, I think about 120 miles, I'm not sure approximately. Then you're going to see the beautiful souk, which is very old souk, but the rebuild. You can see the reality between 400 or 500 years ago, still the same way the people are sailing. You go in the same. You can imagine. You can same day you're traveling from the beaches. On the way to get to there, you go to the mountains and you go to see the fort. You can see everything in one. You can see a lot of things in one day. Mm-hmm. You can see beautiful landscape, and also we have some old, what is it called, the animal market. You saw that animal market, which is in Nizwa, the once a week on Friday. That since the century there's a market until today. Still the same way the market going on. So when you're there, you think you are in back 400 or 500 years ago, you know?
Oh, seriously. It's
the same day. That's right. Then you can see the souk. You can see also the old souk, and you can see the fort and the castle. Then after that, you can go to the mountains, see the canyons. So a lot of things you can do one day to see different landscape in one day. We have a lot of different part of the country. We have different fort. We have a Nakhal fort, also another old fort.
Right.
We have a Jibril, also beautiful fort. Bahla, they have a nice fort. Yeah, you remember that? That's great. Yeah,
I do. It was like, for me,
it's a very nice fort. They have a very old history there.
Oh yeah, the history is, but I was just amazed at how well preserved in it. And I thought it was, looking back on it, it's kind of like this Arabian Game of Thrones type of experience. It's really cool. And I just, you're talking about Nizwa and a lot of the different cities, and we talked about the villages. Tell us about your hometown, Muscat, and what makes Muscat just one of the coolest and most interesting settings in the world for a capital city.
See, Muscat, it's a beautiful city. The first is the one cleanest. I cannot say it's city or the whole country is very clean. It's very clean. You 100%. Cannot see even the cigarette in the road. And you saw that, and you know about it, how it's clean.
Completely.
And also, the Muscat is mixed between modernized and the old things.
Right.
So we have we don't have skyscraper here. We have the tallest buildings, about 14 floor. The roads, wide road, they have them here. And also, like myself, I grow a small town in Muscat, which is called Seep. Is a fishing village.
The fish market.
Seep, yeah, fish market, yeah. So you've been there.
Yeah, the auction. Yeah, it's really, get me through there. That place is really cool. Yeah.
It is very cool, yeah. So I grew in that village, and of course you can see still how the fishermen, they come with the boats and they bring the fresh fish, and you can see the life, how the fresh fish is still there, you know. So not frozen, they're fresh. Still they're moving, still they're alive, you know.
You go there.
Also, I of course I do my shopping in fresh market, and because not so far from my house, just about 3 kilos from my house. Because Yeah, it's very because I living just near the beach, at 2 kilometers from my home from the beach. It's not
That's
so far.
perfect.
And the beautiful is making Muscat, the hospitality of the people here. The people is very friendly. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah,
They treat the people as like a human beings.
well, completely. I
Doesn't
agree.
matter you are European, doesn't matter you're from India, you are from Bangladesh, doesn't matter you are from any Arab country, they treat you in very hospitality as you welcoming always in this country.
A thousand
You can
percent.
imagine exactly. Sometimes even you go to the village, you meet with the people to say hello. They're welcoming to their house. Come on to have a coffee. Come on have a dates. Of course, dates and coffee. This
They-
our daily things. To give the guests or the family sitting together to having coffee and dates. Everywhere you can see the dates and coffee. And another thing which was make Muscat is beautiful is very quiet.
yeah, agreed.
Not rush. People is not very rushed. Not in hurry. Hospitality people, they're very nice peoples. Everything is clean here. Uh, Also, you can see the weathers, of course. We do sometimes a bit hot in summer, but winter is not freezing. They not get to minus here.
No,
I
no,
can
not
say,
at all.
I can say in Muscat, the maximum cold is about 11 to 13 degrees if they're going to be very, very cold in the night.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll
During
do
the
a
day,
quick Fahrenheit calculation in there, but no, that's very, very comfortable. But you know one thing, I mean, Muscat is one of those it's unmistakable. When you see a picture of it, you're like, oh, that's Muscat. You've got just this. You were talking about the buildings not being tall, and I just love that. I mean, the mountains come straight out of the ocean, and around every corner is like a different neighborhood, and it's got a totally different vibe, totally different personality. You've got just these incredible heritage hotels like Al Bustan Palace, and it's just unbelievable the options that you have there. So you're very, very fortunate to live in such a safe, clean, hospitable, welcome city that's just an absolute treasure. One of the things that also struck me about Oman is just the diverse activities, especially in the adventure travel market. People can go, hiking, trekking, canyoning. Tell us a little bit more about the adventure options in Oman and what can be done.
well, if you come to Muscat here, Muscat, there are a few options you can do. Either you can go to visit the mosque. It's a beautiful mosque, one of the biggest mosques in the country here. They call Sultan Qaboos
Yes,
Grand Mosque. I think you've been in to see how is the beautiful that mosque. And
absolutely.
also they can go to the fish market. They can go to old souk as well. They call Matra souk, and also
The Motrasuk,
they
yeah.
yeah, Matra souk is beautiful here. They can go to the museums. They can go also to see that very beautiful museum. We have a Beit Zubair museum. We have a national museum, which is new. You've not been yet in it because just last three,
Yeah,
four
I
years
haven't
they're
been.
open. Yeah, it's a beautiful big museum there in the National Museum, and also there are different geologist museum like Beit al-Baranda museums. We have the coins like Beit Zubair, also beautiful museum, and also you can go to see the dolphins here. Sometimes you're
Right,
lucky to see the whales as well here.
right.
So what we have some trip which is we do be 2 3 hours go in the water by the boat to see the dolphin just near the boats. If you're lucky, sometimes you can see the sperm whales, a huge big whale in the water very near to you.
Right.
So that's also another option to do. Of course, we have a beautiful hotels here, private beaches, nice beaches here. And also you can do Muscat in the night, which is you can go to dinner, nice restaurants to have dinners near the Corniche, where the beautiful Corniche we have is about 5 kilometers. So you
Yes.
can walk in the Corniche in the night times to front of the harbor. You can see the ship going in and out.
Right, right.
That's also beautiful. Also, you can go to the factory which is make the perfume the Amouage. It's
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
you mentioned. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I'd forgotten
It
about
is
that.
Amouage factory, how they make the perfumes of the nature flowers. One of the expensive perfume in the world. They can go to see and test that smell of that perfume, of course. They
Right.
can do that as well here in Muscat. Also, they can, of course, visit the different areas in Muscat, like they go to beautiful restaurants, have a shisha as well. I think you know
Yes.
the Habli Babli. They can have shisha, of course. Yeah,
That's part if you haven't had a shisha or a hookah as we call them,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know you haven't really had the full proper Omani experience. I don't think.
That's right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, it's great. It's super
Yeah.
chilled out and
Yeah,
relaxing.
yeah,
But
yeah. But if you go to out of Muscat, they have a lot of adventurous places. Like if you go the wadis, we have a beautiful wadi. You can imagine, you can see the desert, nothing around.
right,
Suddenly you're crossing the mountain up and down, so you can see kind of oasis, middle of nowhere, beautiful water, very clean water, few palm trees around it, and you can go to swim in it, and it's beautiful. Beautiful. That's what they call Wadi Bani Khalid. So you can do also the day trip
remember
when
it.
you go from Muscat to see the desert with the sand dunes, and also you can go to the sea, those wadis. And another adventure tours we have, going to see the Grand Canyon, to the mountain. If you're interested in the mountain, interested in the adventure, up and downs, going very high the mountain, very narrow roads,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
to see the canyon on one side, the high tall building on the other side,
Right.
and and also the villages in the middle of the mountains, which you can imagine how those people select this place and they live in this area since many centuries, and
Sure.
still they live in the same places. And you can go to visit those the family, how they're living, how they're making their own foods, you know, which they're growing. They do their own grow, like grow some fruits and vegetables. And same time, we have a gorges, which is you do the adventure gorge climbing with the ropes and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
jumping in the mountain. So we have a lot of options there for the adventures here.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I love the swimming options too. And what was the famous wadi it's like between the mountains and towards Ras Al Jins? What is it? It's not Wadi Bini Khalid, is it? It's Wadi
No,
Bini Al.
no, Wadi Tiwi and Wadi Shab. Wadi
Wadi
Shab,
Tiwi and Wadi
Wadi
Shah.
Shab.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that is beautiful Wadi Shab. Because if you're going to the turtle as well, you can take the option to go in the coastlines
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
to the turtle, because you're not just going to see the turtle only and that's it.
Right.
On the way to get into the turtle beach, you can see the white sand beaches. You can stop and to have a swim in the white sand beach, and also you go into the fish market in Korea as well, and also you can see the
Right.
sinkhole. You
The Bima
remember that
Sinkhole, yeah.
the Bema sinkhole,
Yeah.
and also other adventures to walk in the water for 1 hour, going up, climbing up, coming down,
Yeah.
walking the waters, climb the rocks to get a gorge, a wadi in the gorge. So you can swim in it and then jump from the water. And another pool is kind of small cave. You walk in it and jump other side like a waterfall. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Okay. This is making me miss Oman so much and wanting to get back
You
on.
have to come back again. You have to come back again.
I got to. It's just like the past 8 years I've changed so much and I've done so many different things and activities, and and now I would just totally arrange my trip on some of these really other cool experiences. And talking about we're talking about these villages. I'm going to touch back on the villages briefly. I mean, nothing is staged. Like cultural tourism in so many different parts of the world can be this contrived, dancing show that's put on for tourists. You don't get that at all at Oman. It's all
We
real.
don't have them.
Yeah, it's
Or reality.
Yeah, it's not your culture. It's just not your culture, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You mentioned briefly about how these people have lived in these isolated mountain villages for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundred generations, and the food that they make there. Tell us a little bit about Omani cuisine and what guests can expect to eat during a trip to Oman.
Well, we have the different cuisine, of course. We have ursiya, which is rice smashed with the chicken or with the lambs. They smash them. That's ursiya. We have something very famous they call shua. If the people come
I
to
remember
need
that.
to try shua.
Yeah.
Shua is normally what we do the shua. Shua we do twice a year. Once we do after Ramadan and once after the Hajj.
Yes.
Each we do. We do twice a year. Is the nice thing with the shua. How we make that shua? Shua, when we slaughter the goats, doesn't matter goats or cows or camels sometimes.
Okay.
So what we doing? We after slaughtering, we cut the huge big piece meat, and we cut this is meat, just make a hole in it, and fill the spicy, and bring the bananas leaves and cover that's all those meats.
Yes.
And after that, there a basket which is made from the dates leaves.
Yeah.
So we put them in the basket and bring the nuts and cover the whole basket to not get burned, that basket. And then we make hole, which is about 1.5 meters.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we bring the wood, which is called acacia wood, from the trees or from dates palm trunks. So what we burn them, those trees. Those half meters go to the charcoal. When they're burned all totally, they become the charcoal. So we put the stones above the charcoal. Then those meat stay in those stones, and they're very slowly cooked. So we cover that hole with a piece of the irons, and then we put the sand above that, and put some wood in the sand where the smoke doesn't go out or the heat stay down.
Right.
They keep them for 24 hours.
Yes.
Like the starting with the slaughtering and the cutting the meat and dig the hole. They take 3-4 hours. They're starting in the morning at 8 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock, they finish. Then they bury all the meat, everything. Next day, after 24 hours, 12 o'clock, they come to open. You can see the chewing gum, how is it? The meats come automatically out from the bones. It's delicious.
Delicious, melts right.
You try that and you taste that. That's which one's very famous shua. We have them in the country. The foods, and also dates and coffee are everywhere, of course.
Dates and coffee. God,
the barbecue.
Really good. My God, it's really, really good.
Of course, we have street food as well. We have mishkak, which one is kind of kebab. You can see all the way the street kebab. You can see people they make them. You can just a snack on the way. You can catch one and you eat that. You know,
it's Omani fast food, right?
Exactly, Omani fast food. We have shawarma as well, but shawarma not originally from there. They become from Egypt or Turkey or Syria.
All around the region. Yeah,
exactly.
Everywhere in that part of the world, and nobody really knows. Everybody, where the home of shawarma. It's like, just stop.
That's right.
Don't even bother.
Yeah.
You know, I just remember having. I don't think it was like proper shua, but I remember eating a lot of lamb when I was in Oman, and it was always delicious. I mean, just the seasonings, the flavor, and how just tender it is was just so good. And
now one thing which is famous with the people, there's a lot of restaurants that do the camel meat. Which you know, a lot of people that never not have a camel meat. It's delicious, a camel meat.
I've never
let them to come and try camel meat. No, you didn't try it because you don't. There was not the time which when he was here. There was not a lot people there do. The people who sold their own camel and they are all make their own meat.
Okay.
But now you can see a lot of restaurants. They can sell the camel meat. They become famous, you know.
So all of our travelers now, I'm going to put that in pre-trip documents, is in order to be admitted back into the United States, you have to have tried camel meat.
That's right, yeah.
For sure. I can't remember. I don't think that this was there when I went, but was there or is there an Oman Air flight to JFK?
They have no direct flight so far, but they're thinking to do the direct flight. They go through London. They change the different flight, but not Oman Air. They're not direct to JFK. Yeah,
no,
but they go change the flight to London.
A guy that was, I think, we were talking about Nepal and easy connections from the U.S. And he's like, I think you can fly JFK via Oman Air to get to Nepal. And I was like, really? That's amazing. Direct flight to Oman from the States. I wouldn't even go. I'd just go there and stay.
What's happening, there could be flight change from London to Oman Air to Oman here.
Right.
From Oman, we have a direct flight to Nepal. We have a lot of destination with Oman Air. We have to Nepal. We have to Zanzibar to Africa. We have to Beirut to Lebanon. We have to the India, many parts of India. We have direct flights. We have Europe. We have to Germany. We have France. Germany, few places are Munich and Frankfurt. We have Zurich, Switzerland as well, direct flights. So we have few direct flights from Muscat to Europe and to other destinations like Nepal or like India.
Well, coming from the States, guests I would probably assume that if Oman Air wasn't an option, I would go like Emirates or Qatar Airways or Etihad or one of those carriers that serves the region really, really well. Or I know Ethiopian flies there. I think Ethiopian flies to Muscat. I can't remember. There's a direct, anyway. But the point of the whole thing is I want guests and listeners to know that Oman is very accessible. It's not something that you're going to have to take like 3 flights to get to. It would be really, very, very easy to get to. So we've talked about the highlights of Oman. What are some of your favorite off the beaten path destinations in Oman that guests might not expect to or know about when they're thinking about a trip?
See, we have a few places where there are tourists never not been yet in it. No much tourists been in it. I mean, very unique places. Like, it is because adventures.
Yeah.
Like example, when you're going from Muscat, I think you saw that where the sinkhole.
Yes.
There are roads from the sinkhole going up to the mountains, going to other side of the mountain. It's beautiful road to go to see the second biggest cave in the world.
Okay.
From the top, huge big cave, because until now the cave is still there. They want to do some elevator from the top to down because it's really very deep.
Yeah.
So that's adventure really. Very narrow roads up the mountain. Villages. You can imagine even 2-3 houses. There are villages. One village here, one village there, one village there. So far they're not much because a lot of people really scare that road.
Sure.
It's scaring to drive that road, and also because a lot of people that don't like the very hard adventure. This is kind of hard adventures. Another also, which is also when you get to the top, you can go to the 2,000 meters in the top and see the sea, see the beach.
No kidding.
You can imagine you are 2,000 meters and you can see 5 kilometers in the front flat land, and then all the beach, the ocean you can see from the top.
And all the diversity from there.
Exactly, yeah. And also they have another nice option, which is not much people they go in it, to drive from Muscat to Salalah, the coastline. It's a beautiful, untouched places.
Untouched
at all. You can camping on the beaches. The camping is allowed. You can go to near the fishermen to see how back few hundred of years people how they're fishing. Until the same way they do go to fish in the waters, they come back. The thing that changed, the truck by car they come to collect the fish. But the thing is still realities. You can camp there, which is no tourist. White sand beaches, gold sand beaches, cliffs, rocks, beautiful. So you can do a few days on the beach until you get to Salalah. That's another destination, which one's different. Yeah.
Well,
than Muscat.
I want to comment on this, and I know that we had talked about this on our trip. So I'm from South Florida. All of the beaches that I grew up on, yeah, they might look beautiful, but they're just surrounded by this concrete jungle of buildings that's endless, and you don't get anything pristine. Oman, 1,700 square kilometers of coastline, and
if you go to straight line, just straight, it's 1,700 kilometer coastline.
Right.
But if you go through the creeks, about 3,200 kilometers long.
And can you imagine all of that land with just beautiful white sand and just untouched, pristine beaches? I remember just being in Ras Al Khaimah at the Science Center and just having a stroll on the beach that afternoon. And I'm not kidding. I walked for a couple of miles. I did not see one single piece of trash. Not just from there not being any, settlements or anything, but sometimes, things wash ashore. Somebody throws something off of a boat somewhere and it comes ashore. It is pristine. It is gorgeous. And it's just, for me, growing up in an urban beach environment, that is just beyond anything that I would ever expect. I loved that about Oman.
No, it's very clean. The Oman is very clean. Even you go in interior and it's really, really very clean. They teach the children how to look as they're looking for their house, how they keep the clean. They have to keep the clean, the area they're going as well.
Yeah.
You can imagine sometime you get middle of nowhere. There are no houses, nothing. You can see the beach. If you walk few kilometers around, you cannot see the house. Sometimes you camp on the beach, middle of nowhere, no any building around it. About the trashes as well, the government, the human beings, you never know who sometimes throw the garbage from the window. The government clean all waste every day. There are people just walk around the street. So they pick up every 6 hours, sometimes every 10 hours, they collect the garbage around before they're going around inland.
Unbelievable.
So they are always check up and clean. So that's why even if you go to inland, middle of nowhere, even there was one person that threw the garbage, still you can see it's very clean.
So, I mean, sustainability isn't something that's new to Omanis. It's just natural. It's normal. It's
exactly
hardwired.
Another thing is also because sometimes we are open to the Indian Oceans.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes there are a ship, sometimes throwing boats. You never know who throw them in the sea, and the waves bring those garbage. So what's happening? The people who see those garbage, they just go on Twitter. They need volunteer to clean those beaches. You can see 100 people that are coming. Oh, they're coming. Come on, hey, we're going to clean. Everybody ready to do the volunteers, to go to clean, to help, to do everything. So if they need 10 people, there are 100 people coming volunteers. Oh, I don't need much of people, you know. So that's why people, one hand together, they try to look after the countries, you know.
That's got to make you so proud.
We are proud. We are proud.
I can tell. That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we've touched on so much in terms of like where guests can go, what they can experience, and you know, with this whole COVID thing that we're in the middle of now. I mean, what can guests expect in the future? What was it like, kind of like during and now and after? What do you expect? What have you experienced so far?
Well, we expecting the tourists get much better because you can imagine 1,000 people that are all blocked. They're not moved when they're opening the door for them.
Yeah.
If you used to be the 100,000 people that come or 100 people that coming in before the COVID-19. After COVID-19, they're going to be doubles.
Yeah.
Because everyone to travel, everybody gets fed up because they're locked up and they're got sickness. So they're going to be really huge, big amount of tourists after COVID-19. So everybody want to travel. Omani want to travel somewhere else, and other people that want to travel to Oman, you know? Exactly.
I want to go to Oman.
So everybody waiting just to finish COVID-19 or find anything to finish that, or find any medicine for that. So just everybody wait. I hope 2021's everything's going to be COVID-19 is going to be over. Tourism stuff becomes and the days come back as they used to be, you know.
Yeah, and I think it'll be stronger than before, and I feel that guests, you know, especially with my market and my clients that I've had, and clients that, you know, they're potentially thinking about planning something, they're just still a little bit apprehensive. One thing that is for sure is people are more interested in more authentic experiences, and especially they don't want to go as a part of they don't want to be a number, and they don't want to be a part of a massive system in terms of just, you know, they don't want to go to big, gigantic crowded resorts or anything like this. So I think Oman would be perfect for them, and you're traveling with purpose to a place that's safe and just fascinating and authentic and pure and accessible. It's just, I think it's a perfect fit, man. I think it's a perfect fit.
It is very quiet here. Sometimes you can imagine go up to the mountain, even there are tourists in the hotel, but still you can feel the quietness because no crowds, no cars, no high building there. Well, we say sometimes, we do the joke. We say you can hear the fly when they're talking together, you know? That's quietness we have, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, that's an impression which we give for the client. See, you can hear the mosquitoes or the fly, they're talking together, you know?
Well, that's when you were talking about being in the mountains. This got me. Is the View still around? Is the View Hotel still there?
The View is still there. See how it's quiet? You've been to the View? You see how it's quietness there?
Oh, yeah. No, the quietness there, but I just remember seeing the stars were just insane. It just
beautiful. Another thing, we don't have light pollutions here.
Right.
People who's interested to see the star, especially they go to the desert or in the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
You can see millions of stars. You can see stars shooting. Even you can see the satellite moving in the air, in the sky. You can see the light just running around it. This is happening in the desert. You can see it in Oman here because there are no light pollutions, of course.
Yeah.
The people who want to see the stars. Yeah. The view also, you've been to the view to see how to see the star. You see the star down, and the house is light, and you can see the star in the sky, you know?
Yeah, just millions of flickering lights everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's a special place. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, Qais, I could talk to you forever, but we're kind of approaching, I hate to close this down. We're kind of approaching our sweet spot, but we've touched on so many really cool things. I mean, do you have any parting comments for the guests that are considering a trip to Oman?
Again, I didn't understand. Sorry. Can you come back?
Any parting comments, anything that you'd like to tell clients before we close off for the evening?
I can say for the clients, come on, Oman is beautiful. It's very quiet and very nice and very hospitalities. We're waiting for everyone. We are welcome any guest to come to the Oman. We're waiting for you. Please come soon as much possible.
Yes, and Qais is going to be your guide.
I got to be your guide, yes.
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Qais, it's so good to see you, man. And thank you so much for coming on. This has been just such a great catch up, and just bringing back some unbelievable memories. We'll accompany all of this with beautiful images of Oman so you can see all the incredible destinations that we're talking about. But the photos do not do the real experience justice. When you're ready, you're healthy, you're responsible, you're ready to go. When the shroud is lifted, get on a plane and go, for sure.
Thank you very much, Justin. We are just asked to come back again to see the country. Really is beautiful. So you can see something different, because a lot of new things come after 8 years,
Oh, I know.
Like a museum, yeah. A new airport as well. You did be the new airport. It's beautiful.
Cool.
Airport. Yeah, we have a new airport, beautiful airport. So to come to see the new airport, come to see the museum, which you did not see before, come to update your tour to see different new places,
Of course.
I can see. Thank you very much for this interview. We hope to see you soon again. Come before the tourists coming.
You're going to see
very crowd.
You're going to see my daughter, and you're going to see my girlfriend next.
I'd be proud to see you. I'm going to see both of you. I just hope to see both of you, inshallah. We say inshallah.
Inshallah, man. Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you very much. All the best, and wish you good life, you and your daughter and your whole family.
You too, man. Take care.
Take care. Thank you very much, Justin. Thank you very much.
All the best, man. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you for listening to Smart Aspirations. Justin Huff is the manager of Swaggy Swan Travel. For all travel-related inquiries, please visit www.swaggyswan.com. That's www.swaggyswan.com. And click Inquiries. Have a stupendous day, and we'll see you next week.